right, everybody, welcome to the second day of summer camp, as I mentioned, and we are going to start the lesson today, which is all about turtles and our second day of Under the Sea with Mrs. Rice. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys are doing well this morning. So, like we mentioned, we're going to talk about turtles today. Now, before we get into turtles, does anyone remember what did we talk about yesterday? Remember, we're doing the Under the Sea theme. We're talking about like ocean animals and ocean creatures. Does anyone remember which one we talked about yesterday? Oh, I see some friends in the chat telling me. Yeah, jellyfish. That's right. And does anyone remember like a few facts about jellyfish from yesterday? What are some things that we learned about jellyfish yesterday? Oh, Emily says yes. Yeah, no eyes. They have no brains, no mouth. Oh, well, no, they don't have a brain. That's true. No bones. Exactly. Remember, they're very like squishy and flexible, so they don't have any bones, which is different from the animal that we're going to talk about today. Yeah, they can sting. Some can glow in the dark. Really good. Absolutely good. Yeah, so yesterday we talked about jellyfish. We learned some jellyfish facts, and then we were actually able to do a jellyfish craft, which I hope was really fun for a lot of you. We're going to kind of have that same setup today, but like we said, we're going to be talking about turtles, and not just any turtles. We're going to be talking about sea turtles, like turtles that we might see in the ocean. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, good. A lot of you are saying you can see it. Awesome. So again, you guys, we are doing the Under the Sea theme this week for PA Virtual Summer Camp. So I'm excited to start day number 2, and I'm excited to do another craft with you guys and to learn more about another ocean creature, sea animal. So with that being said, I am just going to formally introduce myself again because I'm not sure. Some of you might be here from yesterday. Some of you might be brand new. So I wanted to make sure that I was able to introduce myself daily before we get started, just in case we have any new friends, which is awesome if we do. So again, my name is Mrs. Rice. I've been teaching for 9 years. So Mrs. Rice has been a teacher for 9 years. I've been teaching at PA Virtual for the last 3 years. Okay. My favorite summer activity is going to the beach. And again, those of you friends that were here yesterday, you might remember that's why I said I'm so excited to do the Under the Sea theme this week, because my favorite summer activity is going to the ocean. And the ocean is under the sea, right? So maybe some of you, oh, Conley said, are you including this year? So I actually started mid-year. So I guess I could say I'm going into my third 3.5 year mark at PA Virtual. So we do need some materials for this. So in the next screen, and I think we sent this before, so maybe some of you have your materials out. Like I said yesterday, it is absolutely fine if you don't have your materials today. We'll make sure that we kind of go through this together so that if you have them later in the day and you like to do it another time, you absolutely can. All right, so let's go through the materials that we need, and then I'll give you guys a few moments to kind of gather some of those materials so that we can make our sea turtle together this morning. So some materials that we need is a paper plate. Remember, we used this yesterday for our jellyfish craft as well. We cut our jellyfish craft, and Mrs. Rice still has it here, so that way we were able to kind of make the head of our jellyfish. So if you have the other half, you are more than able to use the other half to your paper plate. If you just have another paper plate that you have on hand, you can use that as well. And Mrs. Rice also said yesterday you can use like a foam plate, anything that you kind of have that you can use for the body of the sea turtle today. Okay, now some other materials that we are going to need, whoopsies, is green paper. So yesterday we used some construction paper for like the eyes of the jellyfish. Some of us use construction paper for like the tentacles of the jellyfish. So today we are going to need some green construction paper. So I'm sure that a lot of you are like, I'm sure that we would need green construction paper when we're making a turtle. So today you'll need some green construction paper. Okay. All right. Now, some other materials that we are going to need is tissue paper. Now, I just want to kind of emphasize on the tissue paper really quickly. So you can use tissue paper. It's kind of to be able to decorate your sea turtle. But you know what? Mrs. Rice is also using some different colors of construction paper because I had that on hand. I have tissue paper too, but I wanted to give you guys some different options. So if you don't have tissue paper on you and you have like some different colors of construction paper, you can also use crayons if you want to. Anything that you have that would kind of be able to decorate your sea turtle is absolutely okay. Because remember, yesterday when we were making our jellyfish, we know that the jellyfish doesn't have eyes, right? And we know the jellyfish doesn't have a big smile, but we were kind of making the jellyfish look a little bit more welcoming and exciting. So we're going to do that today with our sea turtle as well. So we're going to be able to decorate the sea turtle shell. So anything that you have that you could decorate the sea turtle shell is a-okay with me. All right. Some other things that we might need today is some googly eyes. So some of you might have those googly eyes with you. I think some of you used googly eyes yesterday for our jellyfish craft. But something else that you can use and something that Mrs. Rice is going to use too, again, just to give us different options, is the white construction paper to make the eye. So you can do that as well if you don't have like a pack of googly eyes with you. That is okay as well. All right. Some other things that we're going to need is a glue stick. We needed a glue stick yesterday and we need a glue stick again today. There are a few things that we'll need to be able to glue to put our sea turtle together. All right. And last but not least, we're going to need some kid-friendly scissors. So I know that I went over this a lot yesterday, but we want to make sure that we have kid-friendly scissors and we kind of have a grown-up with us if we need one to help us with scissors if we need some support. And to make sure that we're being scissor safe always. All right. Yesterday we used paint. So Mrs. Rice said, make sure that there's something under you in case you get mom or dad's table messy or in case you're on something that you don't want to get paint on at the end. Today we're not using paint. We're going to be using like construction paper, crayons, things like that. So you are more than welcome to put something under your workspace, but also there shouldn't be anything that you should need to cover too much like the paint that we used yesterday. And I see a lot of you showing me your materials. I see glue sticks. I see scissors. A lot of you have like a little caddy that you have with all of your art crafts and your materials in there, which is awesome. So a lot of you look ready. Maybe I'll give you guys one more minute just to make sure we have all the materials at hand. And then we'll get started kind of following those steps to be able to create our sea turtle craft this morning. All right, let's do it then. Let's start making our sea turtle. So we have some steps here today, some steps that we need to create our sea turtle. And I would love if you guys could stay with Mrs. Rice while we're creating the sea turtle, just so we can all stay together and so that we don't miss any important steps along the way. All right, so step one, we are going to cut the paper plate in half. Now, a lot of you might be like, Mrs. Rice, that was the same step that we had yesterday. And you're right. We are starting with the same step that we needed to make our jellyfish yesterday. So just how we cut that jellyfish, the paper plate in half in the beginning to create kind of our jellyfish's head, we're going to do the same thing this morning with our sea turtle. So go ahead and grab your scissors. Again, if you need a grown-up with you, If you have those kid-friendly scissors, that is awesome. We are gonna cut the paper plate in half. Remember yesterday, Mrs. Rice said, when we cut something in half, it has two equal parts, right? So there's a top half and there's a bottom half. So we are gonna go ahead and cut this paper plate, or cut whatever plate you have in front of you, right in half. Okay, so Mrs. Rice completed that first step. When you have completed that first step, you can go ahead and share it with your classmates, share it with Mrs. Rice. I would love to see it. Okay, cool. So since we cut out our plate right in half, we are going to go on to our next step today to making our sea turtle. So our next step is getting that tissue paper and cutting it in several different pieces. Now, some of you might be saying, Mrs. Rice, I don't have tissue paper. That is okay. So this morning, I have lots of construction paper. So I just picked three kind of colors. I chose red, black, and pink. You can choose any colors you would like. If you have tissue paper, that's awesome. If you have construction paper, that's awesome. Anything really that you can use to decorate the shell of your sea turtle. And I'll show you if you have that tissue paper or the construction paper. We're just going to go ahead and cut it in lots of different pieces just to kind of decorate the sea turtle shell. Again, we know that the sea turtle shell is made up of lots of different bones, right? We learned earlier that the sea turtle shell has 50 bones in it, right? They kind of wear their bones in their shell. So what we're doing today is just kind of decorating that shell. So Mrs. Rice went ahead, I chose pink first, and I just kind of made like little squares, little kind of different size squares and rectangles to go ahead and make and decorate my shell. So I have some pink pieces, I'm going to make some black pieces, and I'm even going to make some red pieces. So you guys can cut your tissue paper if you have it, cut your construction paper if you have it, into like little squares or little rectangles. And again, we're going to use those to decorate our turtle shell. So I have lots of different pieces here. Some of them are bigger, some of them are a little bit smaller. And again, we're going to use them to decorate our turtle's shell. So I'm going to do a few more here just because I want to make sure that my turtle shell is decorated fully and really nicely. And feel free as you're cutting up your tissue paper or your construction paper or whatever type of paper you're using, feel free to show me when you've cut them up what your pieces look like. I would love to see them. And again, you can make this shell whatever color you want. So say you have maybe some blue construction paper or some blue tissue paper. That is a-okay. Mrs. Rice just chose pink and red and black. And I do love pink, so I think I'm going to make a few more of those kind of pink pieces. Okay, so I have a few more of these pieces here for my turtle shell. Okay. We have blacks, we have reds. So I know what my turtle shell is going to look like already, and I'm excited to start kind of decorating it. Good, I'm getting excited. All right, let's do the next step here. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get our glue stick. So we're going to need our glue stick for the next step, and we're actually going to put our construction paper or a tissue paper or whatever we have that we would like to decorate our turtle shell, and we are going to glue the paper down on the paper plate, and this is in order to kind of decorate the turtle shell. So I took my lid off of my glue stick. I'm going to grab some of my little squares here that I just made in my last step, and I'm going to glue them onto my paper plate just to kind of create a more kind of colorful shell and decorative look to my turtle. So I'll do a few of these pieces and then I want to show you guys how mine looks. But again, you don't need to make it look just like Mrs. Rice's. You can kind of make it look however you want to decorate your turtle shell. All right. So just for a quick look, here's how mine is looking so far. I plan on covering the whole turtle shell with different squares and different colors to make for a more kind of vibrant look. So that's what I'm doing now. Decorating my turtle shell. And if you want to, you guys, you might see like Mrs. Rice has some opening there in the front or at the top, I should say. So I could even cut out a small piece of paper and put another kind of strip up there. So if you need to, you can always cut smaller pieces. Maybe you're noticing that you need a bigger piece. You can always kind of make it how you need to as you go. So I am still decorating my turtle shell. It's looking really good. I like these colors together. Excited to see how yours look. Okay, so just kind of an update there on how mine is looking. So as you can see, you guys, I'm covering the turtle's shell. So I don't really want my turtle shell to be white. So I kind of livened it up with all of those pieces that I cut from my construction paper, just to make it more colorful, more vibrant, so that my sea turtle at the end looks really cool. So I'm just adding a few more of my square pieces here to my sea turtle. I'm almost finished. Just a few more pieces to go. And I cannot wait to see how your sea turtles look as well. Shouldn't say sea turtles yet, right? It doesn't look like a sea turtle quite yet, but it will. All right, so here's kind of an updated look on my sea turtle shell. There we go. There's his shell or her shell. So I'm excited to see how some of yours look, and I will give you a few more minutes there to kind of finish up your sea turtle's shell. Remember, we want to make it a little bit decorative. We want to make it a little bit vibrant, a little bit cool to kind of see at the end there. So go ahead and make it as colorful as you would like. Oh, and some of you have the tissue paper already and you're cutting through it. Wonderful. Maybe some of you kind of saw that you needed a little bit more as you were working. So maybe some of you only cut like 7 little pieces and you saw that you needed more to cover your whole turtle shell. So that's okay as well. Maybe you need to cut out a few more pieces. Love seeing these. Very cool. All right, you guys, for lack of time, I want to make sure that we cover all the steps, but don't panic if you still need more time to decorate your shell. You can have time to do that during our break or later this afternoon. You can always kind of come back to this video once it's uploaded to follow along with the next steps. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do after we decorated our turtle shell is we are going to cut out a light bulb shape on the green paper. Now that might seem a little bit tricky for some of you, so I'll show you what I mean. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm making kind of like a light bulb shape there. And this is just going to be for my turtle's head. So it kind of looks like a mushroom, but we are just making like a light bulb shape there, and that is going to resemble the turtle's head at the end. Okay, so we have a light bulb shape on our green paper, and we're just going to cut it on out after we draw it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out my light bulb shape. I made a light bulb shape there on my green paper, and I'm just going to cut it out. And I'll give you guys my ending results. That is what it looks like. Kind of like a light bulb shape there. Yeah, good, Kyla. That looks really good. That light bulb shape. Okay. Using that green paper, because some of you might be like, Mrs. Rice, I have green paper for a turtle. What are we supposed to do with that green paper? And in the next few steps, you'll see that we're using that green paper a little bit more as well. Oh, Kyla, I love the way that you decorated your sea turtle shell. That looks awesome. Okay, so we have our light bulb shape. Now, one thing that I want to do, and this is totally optional, I want to make just a little kind of mouth there in the turtle. So I know it's hard to see through video, but I made like a little slip in there with my scissors just for the turtle's mouth. Okay. All right. Now, you might know what this shape is used for. It is going to be used for the turtle's head. All right, so I'm just going to kind of get my turtle there. I'm going to glue it on the back, and that's going to be my turtle's head. Okay, so you might have a stapler from yesterday that you can absolutely use. You might have a glue stick that you can absolutely use. Whatever you would like to use to kind of get that turtle's head to stay on the shell. So there's my turtle so far. Few more steps here, you guys. Right, so we can glue the turtle's head on there. Mrs. Rice opted to kind of staple it on the back just so it stayed. But that choice is up to you as well. Anything that you can kind of use to kind of get that turtle's head to stay on the shell. Okay, now I am going to I'm going to get my green paper again, and I'm going to make 2 legs for my turtle. So I'm going to make like an L shape here for the legs. And of course, I'm going to make 2 legs there. And then I'm going to cut those legs out and glue them on my turtle. So right now, you guys, I'm using my green paper and I'm cutting out 2 legs for my turtle. So I have 1 leg here, making 1 more leg. Almost finished. And then of course, I am going to put my turtle's legs at the bottom. And it's completely up to you. It's kind of like the head of the turtle. You can put it on with glue. You can use your stapler from yesterday if you had one. Anything that you find that would be easy squeezy to kind of keep the legs on the turtle. So here is my turtle. I'm going to make an eyeball on my turtle. You can draw it. You could put your googly eye on it. Whatever kind of floats your boat. So here is my turtle. I just drew an eye today. But again, you can use your googly eye if you have it. You can cut out an eye with white construction paper like we did with our jellyfish yesterday, right? It is completely up to you and up to kind of how you want your turtle to look. Okay, last but not least, our turtle needs a little green tail. So I am going to cut out a pointy green tail, and I'll show you guys how it looks. And same as everything else, you can opt to staple it to your shell if you'd like to, or you can glue it, whatever is easier for you. Here's my tail, just a pointy green tail back there. And my friends, we have made our sea turtle craft today.